Yes, people, how we doing? Wow, tech issues or what? I hope you're good. Welcome to the show. Welcome, and I hope you've had a good week start to your weekend. Not as much football today, but of course a couple of games. Which, to be fair, if you were watching, wow, let's be real, what a game that was. Newcastle against Manchester City. I only saw the last literally 15 minutes of the game. I was out, unfortunately, all day today. I say unfortunately, I had a really nice time with friends, but I've seen what has been one of the best games we've seen so far. Manchester City do it again. And should I say Man City do it again, or should I say KDB does it again? Is it out of order to just say that KDB saved Man City? I don't really think it was in this case. I think KDB did come on and save Manchester City and showed everybody what the league has been missing. One of the best players in his position the Premier League's ever seen. I think that's fair to say. Probably would walk into a Premier League 11. Don't know who you're dropping out, by the way. Lampards, Gerrards, Scholes, Vieiras, Keanes, Yaya Torres, David Silvers. The lists do go on, people, but KDB's in there, right? I mean, he's absolute levels. The guy is an absolutely superb talent. And he's shown everybody what he's about tonight. He really has. He's shown everybody what he's about this evening. I'm a big fan of the player, man. I can't stand Man City, of course, but when I sit back and watch beautiful football, um, what a talent he is, man. What a talent he is. Listen, you guys have been moving mad. We're almost at 15K, which is incredible. Absolutely incredible. So I need you to carry on doing me a favor and hit the like button if you haven't done so already, people. Got over 100 of you in here already. We're only a couple minutes in, which is great numbers. So good evening to you all. Good evening to the chat room. Any questions you got for me, throw them in. Any super chats, of course, we'll go through to the front of the queue. We're going to get through some questions, do some interaction tonight with you guys and see how you all are, what you're all saying, what you're feeling for Arsenal and Football Club right now, what you're feeling for today's games, what it shows to you. And I have to say, one of the best games, one of the most entertaining fixtures. We're going to talk about Alexander Isak. We're going to touch on Man City. We're going to talk about links to Arsenal for Ivan Toney in the summer and some of the names that are being linked to Arsenal that, let's be real, no one's actually heard of. We had Mayoral. The next one is Joshua Zirkzee, which people are going to start to tell me they all know all about, and Bologna, and they watch Bologna every week, and he's a talent and all this rubbish. Very underwhelming links when it comes to Arsenal at the moment. All the news has gone quiet on the bigger players' signings, and it's not looking too good when it comes to Arsenal's transfer business. But we're going to get there. First of all, smash a like, subscribe to the channel. If you do want to join as a member, you can do. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe, because both of it is absolutely free to do. And it means so much to me, and it helps the channel grow so much. So please make sure that we are doing that. When it comes to our first topic, it is going to be about the Newcastle player that I wanted at Arsenal before we even signed Gabriel Jesus and before there was rumours of Eddie Nketiah staying at Arsenal in long-term signing contracts. I am, of course, talking about Alexander Isak, who for me is by far the second best striker behind Haaland in the Premier League. The guy is elite level. He's got pace. He's got power. He knows where the goal is. He looks confident in front of goal. You kind of feel when he's one-on-one, he's going to chip it. He's going to dink it. He's going to bury it. It ain't going to miss. I am a huge fan of Alexander Isak, and I think it would have been worth every single penny to release his clause, which I think would probably have been about 70 million euros. Newcastle at the time, let's be real, he would have definitely chosen Arsenal over. Jesus and the Man City link, I understood it. But people that are saying we wouldn't have got Jesus and it's not that, just let's stop. Yeah, let's just stop. Alexander Isak and Jesus could both be at Arsenal, but we don't work this way at the moment. We don't work this way. We've kept on to Eddie Nketiah. We've given him the reins, and I mean I don't know why, but we have. The guy's not good enough, and I have to say, if Newcastle want to ever get rid of him, we've got to be the ones to go in for him. Makes me laugh when they say that Newcastle have got to sell one of their big names. They're not going to sell one of their big names. They're going to sell players, but it ain't going to be Isak. It ain't going to be Bruno Guimaraes. It ain't going to be Sven Botman. It ain't going to be Anthony Gordon, is it? Let's be real. They're going to get rid of their deadwood players. That they've got people on the bench like Richie and Dummett, and the list goes on. We all know the players that need to leave Newcastle to get them a little bit of money. It ain't going to be some of the big names. But if there was ever a chance for Arsenal to sign any centre forward, I'd take him over Toney. I'd take him over Watkins. I'd take him over Solanke. I'd take him over who else in the Premier League? The list goes on, to be fair. There isn't anybody, if I'm honest. I get quite sick and tired, to be honest, of excuses already. You know, I put a tweet out to say this is why I wanted Isak and we kept Eddie instead of releasing the clause. Well, we wouldn't have had Jesus then. He's not that great. His injury record's poor. I don't know what we're seeing in him. He's hardly been fit for Newcastle. The excuses keep coming on as to why we've kept Nketiah. Wow. I mean, bizarre. It seems that everything the club do is perfect and you cannot question it. Do not question it. Never have concerns. Arsenal are going places. And the Cronkies and the process is doing bits. Never question it, people. Let's talk about Manchester City quickly, shall we? Because I must say, that winning goal was absolutely phenomenal. And it was everything about it. It was the ball from Kevin De Bruyne. I've seen Trent do that quite a lot this season, but Kevin De Bruyne comes in and he's just the master of it. That was inch perfect. And fair play to Oscar Bob. What a name, by the way. Oscar Bob. Footwork. Jeez, what a way to score your first goal for Manchester City, eh? That was a stunner. I don't know if Manchester City deserved to win that game, personally, because I've not seen the whole game of 90 minutes. I've only seen goals and I only hear things. Manchester City apparently should have really had their shooting boots on, from what I hear. But apparently Alvarez was someone that people are talking about missing some chances. Not seen them, but apparently should have done better. Newcastle find themselves 2-1 up. Kevin De Bruyne comes on and people are saying he changed the game. And fair play. I think he did. Where does he rate? Where does Kevin De Bruyne rate? That's what I want to ask. There's two questions. This is the first one. Is Kevin De Bruyne the best in his position of all time in the Premier League? I think so. I do. I think so. Frank Lampard will be up there in terms of the goals that he scored. Steven Gerrard has to be mentioned. I mean, phenomenal the way he drove Liverpool forward on his own in that midfield at most of his time playing for the club. Then you can talk about others like Yaya Toure and Roy Keane and Patrick Vieira and Paul Scholes, but they're a little bit further back, in my opinion. Not in terms of level, but height, where the position they play. Kevin De Bruyne is further forward. And for me, I think he gets it. I think he gets it all round. I don't really see a part of his game that isn't beautiful to watch. And he's been doing it and he's been tearing it up. And for me, he's been one of the best. So I have to give it to him. If I was to pick a Premier League all-time 11, I think KDB's getting in there, 100%. It's crazy. He is, for me, the best player in the Premier League. And it's mad for me to say this. I'm an Arsenal fan. I should be hating what I'm seeing. Sometimes you have to sit back and appreciate a top talent. And this is what I'm saying when people are telling me that Kai Havertz is good enough. I'm seeing Bernardo Silva. I'm seeing Phil Foden. I'm seeing Kevin De Bruyne. And people are trying to tell me Kai Havertz is going to win the league with Arsenal. Madness, in my opinion, but listen, opinions are exactly what they are, and of course, I respect them all. But I will disagree with them, and I'll tell you why I believe I disagree with them. And that's certainly one of them. Listen, Kevin De Bruyne is going to take Man City to places again where we've seen over the last few years, and there's no evidence to suggest anybody else is winning the league other than Man City at the moment. Haaland's still to come back as well. They've hardly had John Stones, Haaland, or Kevin De Bruyne in the last few weeks. Most of the season for De Bruyne as well. They don't look too bad, do they? Let's be fair. I've been impressed with what I saw from Kevin De Bruyne today, and it's a real shame that he's back as far as Arsenal, Liverpool, Villa, and all the other teams around him are concerned. I want to ask this as well. What does it mean for Manchester City? And why do you think that they're struggling this season? Because when I look at what Manchester City have done so far, they've lost some games, they've dropped some points. Of course they have. They don't look too bad, do they? In terms of where they are in the league. If this is Manchester City looking bad, I think they're only 2 points off of where they were last season. They went and won the treble. Do you think they're going to win the treble again? Somebody asked me in the chat. No, I don't. But I wouldn't put it past them. The only reason I'm saying no is because I've not seen it done before. I'm not actually believing that there's anything evidence-wise that proves why they can't, because they're the best team in the world for me. So, of course, they could. Will they win a back-to-back Premier League, Champions League, and FA Cup? If they do, they'll go down as the greatest team ever, which for me, they probably are anyway. They're probably the best team I've seen in the Premier League, if I'm honest with you. I have to sit there and be honest. I think this team is better than the treble winners of 99. I think the manager is absolutely phenomenal and he's the best I've seen. So Manchester City scare me and they worry me. And that's why I've always tipped them to win the league. I always have. I've seen no evidence to suggest that they're not playing well this season and that everybody else is going to trump them. I don't get that. I don't see it at all. It makes no sense to me when people say that. So fair play to Manchester City. We have to be real. We have to be real, and we have to accept it and say, do you know what? Like, fair play. Darsha says, Dan, as a City fan, I don't think we'll do another treble, but there'll be a four-peat or back-to-back. There'll be a four-peat or back-to-back Champions League. Listen, I don't think it matters what Manchester City do this year. In terms of they haven't done a back-to-back treble, or they haven't done a double. They're winning trophies, man. They're winning. They win Champions League. They go into them other competitions, the Club World Cup. They go win that. They go win Super Cups, Club World Cups. Come on, like, Man City are just the best in the world at the moment. It's quite clear to me to see. And today, it's a shame that they didn't drop points, but that's the way that it is. What does it mean for Liverpool fans? Big up Bear in the chat, says Potts, believe in Arsenal. Listen, I'd love to, man, but unfortunately it's the hope that kills me with this club. I've tried to believe. I've got behind the team. I've got behind the players, and it keeps letting me down 20 years in a row now. So Premier League, 20 years, 30 years for a League Cup and a Europa League. Not good enough as far as I'm concerned. So let's see where we are this season. Liverpool, though, listen, I don't think Liverpool are out of this title race by any means. People sit there and say it's Man City. They're going to go and run away with it. Potentially that could happen, and it wouldn't put it past them if they go and win the league by 7-9 points. It really wouldn't. But Liverpool have been impressive. They still only lost a game, and fair play to them, man. They're still in a lot of competitions as well. Liverpool going to win silverware this year. Let's have it right. They're going to win the Carabao Cup, in my opinion. They're going to win the Europa League, in my opinion. They've got a great chance of winning the other domestic cup as well. And they're top of the league right now. So we can't sit there and start sort of questioning Liverpool, in my opinion. I think if you go and get a number 6, Liverpool got an unbelievable chance of winning the league. Unbelievable chance. You go and get a Paulinho, somebody like that, unbelievable chance of winning the league, in my opinion. So let's take a few questions before we come on to Arsenal itself. Highbury Ultra 13X says, is KDB the GOAT Premier League midfielder? For me, he's second after Scholes. Completely different players, in my opinion. If you're looking at a midfielder, then Scholes and Vieira are right up there for me. If you're looking at an attacking player, then KDB for me, yeah. KDB 100%. That's who I would go with. Big up Ash says, would you be Arteta out if we're fighting for 4th and out of the Champions League by Porto? Of course. Absolutely, I would. That's not progress, is it? That's going backwards. So with you there, Ash, has to be, man. I'm a huge fan of progress in football, but I need to actually lift trophies. And if you have progress to go and lift trophies, fair play. If you can't lift them and you have 4 years without winning them, then you're clearly not good enough. So it's going to be pressure under Mikel Arteta, man, to win something this year for sure. But Ash again says, Dan, do you not think Bruno or Isak will be asking questions? They're too good to not be in the Champions League. I think they bought into this project at Newcastle and they know that they are going to be fighting for trophies in the coming years. So I think both of them will be happy at the moment. I don't think either of them will say that they want to leave, unless, of course, the bid was to come in from a Real Madrid or Manchester City. I don't think they'll be moving. I really don't at the moment. Anyway, if things continue with Newcastle, they start to go downwards, they look towards hitting 7th, 8th, 9th or 10th in this season, then of course they might look at differently and say, do you know what, fair play, I'm not really about this at the moment. I wanted to be winning things by now. So that's where I'm at with that one. Where are we here? Jake says, how many of this current City side will the best players at in their position? If Diaz, Rodri and Haaland spend the rest of their career here, surely they'd be in the conversation. Oh, I see what you're saying, Jake. Yeah, listen, Rodri, for me, best centre midfielder in the world, like DM, best defensive midfielder in the world. Haaland, best centre forward in the world. Diaz up there, one of the best centre backs in the world. And KDB, they've got the lot, really, haven't they? Let's be real. Let's just call it as it is. They have 4 or 5 of the best in the world, and they have other players that would be in contention to be in a discussion around whether they're best in the world, i.e. Ederson or Alisson. We all know it's Alisson, but Ederson's in the discussion at least. That's what I would say about it, Jake. So fair play to you, my bro. This one comes in from Kasim, who says, which player could Arsenal realistically move on in this window to get the biggest possible transfer fee? Probably Emil Smith-Rowe or Aaron Ramsdale, if I'm honest. Whether we're going to sell both of them or either of them, I really don't know. But they're the two that I think we'll come on to in a minute about who we could sell and get some actual money for. This one comes in from Tyler. It says, what do you think of Spurs and Ange this year? Very impressed. Very, very impressed by Ange Postecoglou. I've been very impressed by what I've seen from his style of play. but also the fact that he's dealt with a lot of injuries. And I always said that Spurs had a squad that was all right, but not really strength in depth. I think your first 11 is pretty good. But actually, when you look at it, I do think that they'll still struggle for a title push. I think it's going to be Champions League, if I'm honest with you. But listen, Spurs will take that as far as they're concerned after losing Harry Kane. Ross says, Dan, do you believe City bidding for Rice in the summer has forced Edu to have to pay more up front, putting us in the position where we can't spend in January? No, I don't blame the Rice signing for not spending in January. I blame the Havertz signing, because that for me was not a player that I looked at and thought would improve us, whereas Rice clearly has improved our midfield and improved that position. And when we see Partey and Rice together, it really will be a big thing, I think. But when you look at Manchester City, it's not just the Declan Rice deal they've pulled out of. They pulled out of the Alexis Sanchez deal, if you remember, when Manchester United were going to offer him crazy money. They pulled out of Cucurella when Chelsea offered him £60 million. They pull out of deals when they believe it's too much money. And I think they felt that Rice was too much money. So Arsenal swooped in. We wanted the man. Sometimes you got to pay for it. So it's not Rice for me. It's the Havertz money. Matt says, do you think Arteta should be trusting the academy players now, seeing how Pep used Bob today? Pep Guardiola is the best at it, if I'm honest with you. He's brought players through, he's done it and he's sold them on, or he's managed to keep some of them, like Phil Foden, for example. We've seen it in other clubs as well. You know, Klopp's tried to do it as well. There's best managers that do that. Now, to be fair, we've got some academy players already, to be fair. We've already got the Sakas, Smith-Rose. We've got Martinelli, who wasn't academy but was young. We've obviously got players like Reece Nelson, Eddie Nketiah, Kozia Dubry and Ethan Nwaneri are the two that are coming through at the moment that people are talking about. So we have got some of those, but academy players aren't going to win us the league, in my opinion, because the difference is Manchester City are complementing what they've got with their youth with the players that are ready right now. And I don't think that bringing on youth players with the players Arsenal have got are going to be players that are ready right now. So I wouldn't be bothering with that, if I'm honest with you. This one comes in from Wright's Wildlife. Are you Arteta in, mate? And if so, why? Yeah, the Arteta in and Arteta out stuff is already happening. I'm Arteta in right now until he can prove to me that he can't win us a trophy or get us close to that. Then I'm Arteta out. And I don't think it could be one or the other right now. I think you've got to look at the end of the season and look at two things. Arteta, what have you achieved? Cronkies, what are you going to do about it? They're the only two questions I've got. If we're lifting trophies, no need for the discussion. No need for the question or the debate or the concerns. But when you look at it, if we do go out to Porto, like people are saying they think we might now, and all this, and confidence is down, and we finish top four, then sorry, man, that's a sackable offence. Particularly when you spent 200 million and done a lot of dodgy things yourself. The manager's going to have to hold that, man, I'm afraid. So that's the way I see it personally. Right, let's get on before we go back to some of your questions. Put them in. Make sure you put a Q at the start so I can actually see them. Makes it a hell of a lot easier. We're going to talk about Ivan Toney. Now, AFC Camden. I don't know how popular this guy is. He's got quite a few followers on Twitter or X. He has stated that Arsenal expect to sign Ivan Toney in the summer if all goes to plan with his comeback. Arteta is keen to sign a Premier League proven forward who's English, and with the expectation that homegrown players will depart in the summer, it remains open to an opportunity this window. Now, I don't think it's happening this window. I think it's quite clear that it's not happening this window. In my opinion, Ivan Toney happening this window is actually probably 0%. But I will say that if he comes in the summer, I'm cool with it. But why are we not trying to get him in January? And if people say we can't afford him, why have we spent £65 million on Kai Havertz when we had money there that could have gone to Ivan Toney? Who'd you rather have in your squad, Havertz or Ivan Toney? And I'm not saying we get Ivan Toney for 65 million, but my point is, if we was to sell a Reece Nelson or Eddie Nketiah, let's say, and even if we pick up 20 mil, you add that 20 mil to the 65 and you've got 80, plus the wages of Havertz, which Toney won't be on, by the way. You get Toney in. So it's poor recruitment. And in terms of poor recruitment over the years, they've got some things really spot on and right, but boy, have they got some things wrong. Jesus over Isak, I can understand why we've gone for Jesus, but Alexander Isak is lighting it up. And why couldn't we have gone for both? When we were having Bruno Guimaraes links, we went for Lokonga in our team at the time. Yeah? Let's have it right. Poor. Could have had Maddison, went for Havertz. Could have had Kudus and Diaby, went for Havertz. Could have had Ivan Toney, as I've just questioned, went for Havertz. This is poor recruitment. Now they've done very well getting in likes of Ben White, Erdegaard, Partey, Gabriel, Rice, Jesus, Zinchenko. We can talk about the players they brought in if you want, but trust me, there's some as well, man. Trust me, there's some as well that have gone wrong. And we just have to call it as it is sometimes. We just have to, man. It's just the way it is. So Ivan Toney, 100 million. I think if you look at it, they're going to accept something between 80 and 100, aren't they? With like a add-ons or something like that. That's not going to happen. That is just not going to happen. But what could happen? Well, the links to Toney have gone very quiet for this window. The links for Amadou and Nana have gone very quiet. The links for Zubimendi have gone quiet. The links for Douglas Luiz has gone quiet. The links for Inacio over at Sporting Lisbon has gone very quiet. But it wasn't long ago we were releasing clauses apparently of Zubimendi and Inacio at 50 million, and we're going to throw in bids of 50 million for Onana. But that's not happening. What are we likely to do? I really haven't got a clue at the moment, guys. All I can suggest is, where are we going to be at the end of this window? And is it going to be a transfer window that slams shut that we look at and go, blimey, that's actually really pleasing? I don't think it's going to be. That leads me on nicely and segues me to who we link with of late. Does anybody know the Bologna 20-year-old centre-forward Joshua Zirkzee? Anybody know him? Anybody know who he is? He's 6'4". He's from the Netherlands. He's 22 years old, sorry. He scored 9 goals in 34 games. He was on loan at Anderlecht and Parma, where he scored 16 goals in 38 appearances, and went at Bayern Munich, where he started in their B team, scored 6 in 32 and 4 in 12. This is who we link with of late, guys. Joshua Zirkzee. That is absolutely not going to do anything whatsoever for Arsenal Football Club this year. We're linked with Mayoral. Mayoral is the Getafe centre forward, 6 foot, 26 years old, scored I think 11 goals in 15, something like that. So on form at the moment. That is not going to take us to the next level. Is that going to improve on Eddie Nketiah? Probably, because Eddie Nketiah's last away goal was Oxford, apparently, in January 2023. So, yeah, it probably will. But when you look at Zirkzee and you look at Mayoral, that they're not going to scare other teams. Do you remember last season where we had Caicedo links and even Mudryk at the time, who actually would have been a waste of money, right? But when you look at it, he was the next hottest thing coming out of the Champions League football, and everybody would have looked at Arsenal going, wow, top of the table, 93% of it. And now they've got Mudryk and Caicedo. They're going to go. And they're getting Rice in the summer, because there was rumours of Rice in the summer then, remember? People will be looking. No, we went and got Jorginho and Trossard. 2 players who have done a job, but not 2 players that were ever going to win us a title. Let's have it right. Yeah, they're good squad players. They ain't going to win us a title. We needed something to go boom, boom, boom. Titles ours. Come and find us if you can see. But we didn't do that. Mediocre as ever. And I feel like it's going to be another mediocre signing. A mediocre window for Arsenal this January. I really don't see us closing it and going, wow, we've got Luiz and Toney. Or wow, Zubimendi and Toney. Arsenal already. Or dare I say it, Inacio, Zubimendi and Toney. Ain't going to happen. I'd be amazed if we get more than 2 players that we hadn't really heard of. But we have bid 22 million for the Getafe centre forward that got rejected. So it means we have actually got some money that we can bid for players. Now, if you had, let's say we got 25 million to 30 million for a player, right? Let's say that. We have to sell some players to try and make that up to 60, 70 million so that we can at least get one big name in, like an Onana, Zubimendi type player if midfield's the priority. If not, then you go and get a centre forward. If you can try and do more than that, so for example, let's say we are trying to get a centre forward like Guy Caress and what's his name from Everton, Onana, then you might look at it differently and think, right, we've got 30 million. That ain't going to be enough for Guy Caress. Probably need 40. Let's sell somebody. Yeah, get 10 million. Go and put the bid in for Guy Caress. And then we try and get Smith Rowe, Ramsdale and Nelson, let's say. that we're trying to get rid of. Bit part players ain't coming on, ain't going to do nothing for us, particularly now we're only going to be playing pretty much one game a week now because we're out of all the bloody cups. Yeah. Champions League. Oh my God, Champions League. Yeah, listen, we're in the last 16. It's not like we're going to be playing every week in the group stages anymore. Right. So we're not going to need this huge squad anymore. We're just going to need quality, not quantity now, because we've been bumped out of all the cups. Then you make your money back that way and you try and get Onana to make that 50 million up. I don't know, Ramsdale and Smith Rowe go and we go get Onana and a centre forward that anybody likes. Maybe that's the way to do it. But this profit and sustainability stuff has now come out after FFP, and we've got to be careful from what people are saying. I still don't know how true that is, by the way, but I'm being told that we are in trouble with it. So financial issues are a problem. Summer, don't know how it works, but I guess the summer, you look at it differently and you get a budget to put towards your squad for 24 season. But at the moment, we're in this season, 23-24 one to be a good one. The 24-25, we can worry about that later date, right? Worry about that later date. So that's where I'm at, right? That's where I'm at. Sorry, my Wi-Fi apparently is moving mad. Give me 2 secs. Apparently it's moved. Oh, no, it is back now. Sorry, my screen is doing that. I don't know if it is for you, but hopefully you can hear me. Let me know in the chat if you can't. If I've got problems with Wi-Fi or audio, just shout. Let's talk about the Arteta situation with the stake, shall we? As a laugh. Does anyone actually care? Is anyone actually bothered by that? Because actually it didn't rattle me. I couldn't really give a damn what people do outside of the pitch, if I'm honest with you. If people want to go, and cheers in the chat for saying you can hear me loud and clear. Big up Walid and big up Steve. Listen, I don't really care about this bloody Salt Bay thing. I don't really care. He's eating a steak dinner. He's laughing. He's smiling. I don't really care. Win me games on the pitch. Eat what you want. I don't care. Just win me games. I hope they're training hard out there. I hope they're trying to sort these things out. I hope that we're not like trying to look at potentially, everything's fine, everything's rosy. We want to try and see a bounce back, right? Against Crystal Palace. We can't beat Crystal Palace and Nottingham Forest. There's problems at Arsenal, man. And we know there's problems anyway. But there's serious problems. When you go and have a nice little together, you go and regroup, you go and have fun in warm weather training, you try and make sure you knuckle down, you try and clear your heads, you mentally prepare yourself, and then you still can't go and get results, then we have got a problem, people. And there will be a dressing room problem if that's the case, clearly. Because if you can't get together and group and you just come back playing poorly again, someone ain't doing what they're told, or the manager ain't getting through to them. And that's what I don't want to be seeing. So we're going to have to see where we lead with that one. Listen, we're going to wrap it up there, people, for the pure fact that everyone's now going to go off and watch Match of the Day and chill. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. Sit there with a nice brew because I'm on dry January, watch Match of the Day, chill out, and then look forward to enjoying my Sunday, which will be consisting of a relaxed roast dinner and football. So that's where I'm at, people. I hope you're all good. Please make sure that you do me a favor. Make sure that you please like the video. How many likes we got at the moment? Where we're at? Are we over 100? Yes, we're on 100, but not even on 200 yet. Come on. There's 440 odd people in here. Come on. Smash the like button. Let's get it up to 200. Hit the subscribe. We are literally 14.5K almost there. Let's make sure we get to over 14.5K. We are on the road to 15K, which was always my next target. I always say we're nearly at 12, nearly at 13. We're now over 14, and we're heading towards 15 quicker than I imagined, thanks to you beautiful people. So please make sure that you like. Please make sure that you subscribe. And if you do want to join as a member, then you obviously can do. Until then, take it easy. Smash the likes on the way out. I'll be back tomorrow for you lovely people, and we'll see you then up the Arsenal. Take it easy, peeps.